Here to give us a business edge is Fabrice Bonvoisin. He is the owner of FB International. We are talking about trading places in this segment, so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me this morning.
You are very active with international trade, so I want to take you around the globe and you can let us know what's going on. I want to start with China because there's a lot of concern about growth maybe stalling out in China. What do you see as far as investing in China?
There's a big shift from export economy into the local economy and domestic market. However, it's in the shadow of many political issues with Japan and the surrounding neighbors. So they have a lot of things to take care of before growing again. So I would advise anybody to put on hold China unless they have already in the country activities. And wait for a solution.
How does this affect somebody who has maybe a manufacturing company and they're looking to get some items manufactured in China? You're telling them to maybe put the brakes on that right now?
If they have already in place structures and business relationships, they can just continue and wait for better days. If you want to develop new relationships, new markets, it's better to hold on.
Moving on to the Brexit situation, people are very concerned about the breakup of the UK and the Eurozone, but you say there's actually some hidden opportunity in Europe. Exactly where?
If you're an investor and you want to explore opportunities, I would go to the eastern side of Europe. So countries like Austria, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary that will represent in the US. I would go there looking for new technologies, new partners, and then they need more things. And the Made in USA still work well over there.
So if you see a company, for instance, in Hungary that's working with tech, that might be a good place to put money into right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and it's much cheaper. So the entry...
Labor costs are down?
No, not so much in that terms. The cost of labor is lower than the rest of Europe, and also their expectations in terms of investments versus equity are much lower than what we see in our neighborhood.
What about Latin America? What's happening there?
Latin America, it's a very interesting market and continent. In itself, it's a patchwork of different cultures. Right now, the good spot for business would be Argentina and somewhat Chile. They still have some political issues as well to fix. I'm not talking about Venezuela and Brazil, obviously. They are taking care of this right now. We'll see how it goes. But I would pay some attention to what's going on in Argentina with the latest reforms and the new president.
And what specific industries would you perhaps invest in?
Manufacturing is still good. The financial world was affected by the regulations in terms of currency exchange and all those things. It seems to be getting looser now with a new president, so I would keep an eye on that as well.
And then there's Africa, and you say this is wide open.
This is wide, yes. Africa is a wide open market. However, the thing is, I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
Okay, for decades, the continent has been neglected by the big three of Detroit. And today, the automotive market is dominated by the Japanese, the French, the Koreans, and now the Chinese. So you see a lot of things talking about China over there in Southeast Asia, which I found as like a distraction. Okay, when there's tons of opportunities that the Chinese are taking over by dealing, for example, they build roads in Kenya and many other countries. In exchange, they ask for a monopoly or an exclusivity on access to natural resources, which also locks up the country itself and prevents it for development. And the other thing is Chinese companies export their labor force. So there's really a lose-lose situation for the Africans. And in that context, I believe that there's a lot of opportunities for American companies to invest and to develop activities over there without the strings attached like the Chinese do.
Well, thank you for all this information. Very fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you and have a good day.